Hey guys, for today's video, we're going to be doing a color correction and fixing some at-home hair and not knowing what we're going to turn out with, but as you can see, the outcome turned out really pretty. So keep watching to see how we went about this service. You can follow me on Instagram at Christy@the_cottage. Alright, and just to show you her hair really fast, here's her before. We're definitely snipping off some of those ends. And you can see she has probably like 1.5 inches of regrowth. So we're just gonna hop in and see what we can do today.
Okay, so my client just drove up like 3.5 hours to come see me. She moved away a while ago, and so she doesn't really know how she feels about anybody else doing her hair, and it's probably been a year since I've done her hair, maybe. Can't really quite remember exactly how long it's been. However, she has done stuff to herself. Just thinking in my head, like, I think I would trust somebody else more than I would trust myself to do my hair. Anyways, so super sidetracked now, I can't focus. Okay, so the last time that I did her hair, we did like a bleach, and then we did a really pretty like emerald green color, and then that's when she moved, and she's now like, I think she bleached her hair and then did like a red color on it, but I'm not sure if it was like a permanent like so red color or if it was like a red direct dye, so I really have no idea what's on top. We also have no end goal in mind. Like, the goal is to look good, and if I told her like if we get close to your natural, then I'd be happy with that. At least then it can just like allow your hair to grow. So they were out of a lot of the color movers that I felt like I wanted to grab. The only one that I really had the option of is the So Color Cult color eraser. And I know that, I don't know if this works for direct dyes. Well, no, it does say color to be removed, direct dyes, permanent color. So I guess this works on everything, so that's good to know. So we're gonna go through her hair first with this and try to remove as much color as we can. I got like 3 packets. I bought all of them just to be safe. And then we'll just see what happens with her hair. We're gonna do quite a big snip though, because those ends are pretty bad. She needs a good trim. So that's what we're gonna do today, a color correction, and I have no idea what we're going for, so we'll just see what we're able to do with the color remover. Okay, I'm reading the back of this, and it says for direct dyes, use 1 packet of this with warm water and let it sit for like 5 to 30 minutes. For like more permanent color, permanent color, it says to use 20 volume, and I'm afraid of using a stronger developer on her hair right now, so I think I'm just going to treat it as if it were a direct dye and mix it with water. We have 2 other packets, so she's my only client today. We have time, we have product to use and see what happens. So just to be safe, I'm going to start with water.
All right, so here is her before. I think we were gonna do a strand test, but we were like, let's just forego it because we know we're like gonna move on with the service regardless. So let's just like be safe and keep an eye on it. So we're starting with the water application with the color mover just to be safe. I feel like you can never be too safe, especially with services like this. We've previously bleached her hair. She's done color. You just never really know exactly how strong is the hair, how is it going to react. So, yeah, so we're just starting a little bit softer. And then actually, as the service goes on, I ended up going to the 20 volume. After I finished this first section, I realized that this wasn't lifting as much as I was hoping it would, and I was keeping an eye on it, and it felt strong. I was pulling it and making sure it felt fine. So we actually moved on to 20 volume with the front sections of the hair. So just so you know that moving forward. So we're going to apply this, and I'm not taking too heavy of sections. I'm trying to stay a little bit thinner of pieces, but you kind of want to make sure when you do this that you get heavy application, even saturation. I feel like when you do color movers, it's not, especially with water, like it just kind of soaks into the hair really quickly. So grab a comb through the hair, make sure that you're applying evenly, getting through the hair. Sometimes it can like rope together and then you miss sections or whatever. So make sure that you're combing through the hair nicely. So now we're making our way to the top, and I'm still keeping an eye on it. It's probably been like 15 minutes or so. So we're just going to continue up here and finish this section out. I also don't know if this is a color mover that affects the natural roots, so I'm trying really hard to stay off of her roots so that they don't discolor. Further on, you will see, especially when we wash her hair, I did not accomplish that goal. I actually, when I got to the top and just moving the hair back and forth and reapplying and everything, we hit her roots, so her roots ended up lifting, so that's my bad. But so this has been sitting on for about 20 minutes now, and I keep checking that underneath section just because I can really see that it's not lifting too quickly. It's moving kind of slow. So at this point, this is when I decided that, maybe we should go through with that 20 volume. All right, so we're making our way to the top of this section, and this whole side I've remixed, and I'm using the 20 volume, so you can actually see the difference in like the gooiness, the thickness of the formulation. So we're gonna go through here, and you'll actually be able to see how much quicker it starts lifting. So these front two sections here have the 20 volume mixed with the remover, and then I'm going to start kind of slapping it through the back just to try to get that going a little bit faster too. By the way, I'm not like a big color correction person, so I really don't have a lot of knowledge on color removers and what one's the best. I've used this So Color Cult one years ago, and I've obviously find after the service especially that I like the outcome of it. I've used the Scruples one before, which I felt like was okay. Actually, I think I like this one better than the Scruples, but again, I'm only going based off of like one service for each. So if color corrections are your thing, then go ahead and list your favorite in the comments and maybe what you like about them or what type of service they work best for, whether it's like direct dye or maybe just lifting like permanent color or whatever. Because stylists will ask me sometimes like what's my favorite color remover, and I really don't have enough knowledge to give like my opinion on it. So if you guys specialize in these kind of services, if you use a lot of different color removers or whatever, then go ahead and leave your suggestions and your favorites in the comments below for other people to kind of read and maybe gain more info to try them out themselves. Thank you. I'm really glad that I went through and mixed the 20 volume because you can see the sides are already matching up with the back, which means that it's processing faster. So I would assume that the back and the underneath especially would be very light at this point, but it's not. So I'm glad that I ended up going through with the 20 volume, and I'm just making sure that I'm, got even saturation everywhere, that it's applied heavily, trying to make my way through the hair, pull it apart, make sure there's no parts that I'm missing or anything. So yes, this is going to sit for about 25 minutes. All right, so here's her hair after finished processing, and you can see I did not do a good job of keeping it off of the roots. I was really just trying to get in there and reapply the 20 through the ends. So yeah, so I definitely hit the roots on that. However, this didn't lighten as much. She's definitely stuck at like a 8 roughly. So we're going to talk about formulating now.
Okay, so my client is ready to tone for the lightest blonde pieces that she has. And she doesn't have very many bright blonde pieces, and the lightest that she is probably like a level 9 in very limited areas. But I want to try to preserve as much of the lightest pieces that we can. So I just pre-warned her, like, don't think this is going to do anything. You're still going to be pretty orange when we go back to my station. I think I want to use Schwarzkopf Agora Vibrance over the Paul Mitchell Demi because I feel like this has better coverage. So I'm just going to go through. I think we're going to try to stay a little bit warmer just because she's so brassy everywhere from lifting that I feel like if we do ashier tones, then by the time it starts fading, then that warmth is going to be, she's going to feel like it's really harsh and strong. So I feel like if we tone warmer, then as it fades out, it won't be such a, I feel like it won't be as brassy feeling to her. So I think I'm going to do like 9, with 9546 for her lightest pieces. That way it'll be really pretty, like blonde, but like a warm blonde. So that's what we're gonna mix right now.
Okay, pause it for these formulations that are popping up on the screen. I'm just throwing this all over at the shampoo bowl, and then this next formulation that's gonna hit right now, pause it. This is gonna be for her root shadow. All right, so you can tell that first initial toner that we did, the level 9, that actually toned her hair down. It's not as brassy. It kind of evened it out, but it's still very warm. I mean, I knew that it wasn't going to do much to touch her hair, but you can just tell that it evened it out a little bit more. And she doesn't have a lot of lighter pieces in her hair, but I just wanted to try and preserve whatever the lightest pieces that there are. I wanted to try to save those so that way she didn't feel like too dark, because her overall goal, she wants to be blonde again like she was before. Obviously, we know that probably won't happen today, but we just want to try to end up somewhere nice. So whatever lighter pieces that I can try to save, I wanted to. So now we're going to go through with this root shadow that we're applying. And the reason why I don't like putting formulations on, half the time I free pour. But like my math is the worst, and I had to sit here and think like, okay, is it 1/4 and 3/4 that equal a whole? Like, I'm a dumbass. So if that's not accurate, like, I don't even want to know, okay? Because I'm going to feel like a fool that I put some formulation up on the screen and it wasn't correct. Is it 1/4 and 3/4? I believe so. But, this is me somebody that didn't even pass pre-algebra. So if I'm not right, then I do not even want to hear about it. So, anyways, I'm going through and applying her roots. My goal, obviously her roots are very warm because my bad, I lifted her roots. So we're going to tone her roots back down, trying to blend in with what her natural would be. So that way, as her hair grows out, it blends really softly. So that was the goal of doing a root shadow, just to give her hair a little bit more dimension too. I'm pulling the front sides away just because around the face is a lot more porous, so it's really going to suck that color in. So I'm applying last in that area. So we're just going to do her roots, kind of drag it through the ends a little bit just to help it blend and not just be a harsh line right at the roots. Combing through it will help it blend a little bit more and blend with the rest of the hair. So we're just going to apply this. And also I want to say with that 724, guys, I've learned my lesson. I only used, just a small amount of that. Usually I do like half of my formulation with the 724 and then, or 721 or whatever. And then now we're like almost green. So I pat myself on the back. I'm glad that we used a limited amount because I feel like the end result was like just the perfect amount of coolness. It toned it down, but not like an overly amount that made it too ashy. Even with how warm her hair is, like that 724, that 721 could really overly grab and over deposit, causing someone's hair to go like very, very green. I know I've done it, so don't make my mistakes, okay? Just like do a teeny little bit of that added into your formulation. So we're just going to finish this application. Once this is applied and I go through and hit around her face, I'm going to go through and just drag it through just random pieces through her hair just because I want to give her hair a little bit more dimension. So I'm going to pick through and whatever the lightest pieces are, I'm going to try to leave those. And then I'm going to grab some other pieces that I can add a little bit more depth to the hair. That way she has some more interest, contrast, some dimension, whatever, flowing through her hair. So we're just going to finish this application and then let this sit on her roots for about 25 minutes. All right, so about halfway through processing her roots, I went through and now I'm going to go through and just drag it through some of these ends. And that's because I waited, because the ends of her hair are obviously way more porous than the rest of her hair. And I do have Olaplex sitting on her hair just to try to rebuild it and also prevent it from, as I was dragging the color through the ends with the comb, from over depositing through the ends. I just wanted it to blend softly. So with the Olaplex and putting this on top of it, I wanted to make sure that it just gave it a little bit of softer dimension, but didn't grab too heavy and go too dark. So now this is just going to finish processing for about 10 minutes. All right, now this formulation right here, we're going to do equal parts again with the 6 volume, and we're just going to put this all over her hair. We are going to wash out the rest of her hair and then just apply this everywhere, and this is going to even out the rest of that warm tone that we had left over. All right, I like for you guys to be able to see the hair after it's a little bit straighter so you can see like there's really no imperfections. Sometimes people like to say that we curl the hair to like cover up mistakes or anything like that. So I just like to show you guys how it's just dries a little bit more naturally. Also, I was using the Big Sexy hairspray, the Stronghold. It has a really good hold. It really keeps the hair nice and in its style, but it's not super like heavy feeling if you like comb through it. If you want it to like stay in place, then don't comb through the hair and it will feel really heavy though. So here is her after, and it actually turned to a really pretty sandy color. I was afraid, was it still going to be too warm? Was that 724, which can sometimes grab really ashy? Was it going to cool it down way too much? But it actually turned out to be like a really pretty, perfect, like sandy, dark blonde color. She was really happy with the outcome. We snipped the ends up just a little bit more, and I think it looks so much better, nice and healthy, and it hits her at a really nice length. So here's her before again. It's always crazy to see how the hair looked before, like after it's done and finished, and seeing the before again, and you're like, that was really raggedy. Like, I know my hair feels like that sometimes, but it's just funny when you see the before again. And then here's the after. Some of those just really soft, brighter pieces, just a little bit of them showing through. There wasn't a whole bunch, but I wanted to try and preserve as much as I could. And that root shadow just softened the roots a little bit. It's not really too high of a contrast from the root through the ends, but it just gives it a little bit of a softer dimension. I want to say this whole service took about 4.5 hours, and she's like a friend client, you know what I mean? So I kind of felt guilty charging her full price. I wanted to charge like $450, but I just felt kind of guilty for it. She drove so far, you know what I mean? So I ended up charging her $375, and then she tipped really nicely on top of it, so that kind of made up for it. So I was really appreciative for that. So anyways, I hope you guys like this video. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.